Good morning, boys and girls. Today I'm continuing my research on the subtopics that were given to me this week: climate, location, tools, and resources. To help me research even further, I've decided to use one of the links today about the Lenape tribe. As you can see, there are a lot of different red headings and some information underneath, and there's a lot to read on this page. Now, I do recommend reading it because it's going to give me a lot of information. But I have another tip for you. On your keyboard is a button called Control, or CTRL. If you push that and the letter F, a screen will appear at the top. It looks like this, and it helps you search for specific words. So I can use this to search for my specific subtopics. So first I'm going to start with climate. It says not found. Well, climate has a lot to do with weather, so let's try weather. Perfect. Do you see how it's highlighted and brought me to the section that I should read about? Let's read the whole paragraph that weather is found in. Lenape women wore knee-high, knee-length skirts. Lenape men wore breechcloths and leggings. Shirts were not necessary in the Lenape culture, but the Lenapes did wear deerskin mantles when the weather was cool. Both genders wore earrings and deerskin moccasins on their feet. In colonial times, the Lenapes adapted European costume such as cloth blouses and jackets, decorating them with fancy beadwork. Here are some pictures of the Lenape clothing and some photos of the links about Native American clothing. So it seems like they really didn't wear tops. They really wore mostly pants and skirts. But then it does say when the weather was cool, they wore deerskin mantles. I'm not really sure what that is. Let's try to click on the pictures of Lenape clothing and see if it shows us. Okay, back of head. Not really sure. So here we can see he's really got like a skirt on. Earrings. It doesn't really show me specifically, so I can also Google it. I typed in deerskin mantles Lenape, made sure to include the name of my tribe because this might look different in different tribes across the country. So I can see that it's got this light tan color from the deerskin, and it's more long sleeve. That one looks like a girl's, and this one looks more like a man's. So it seems like more of a jacket, so they did have things to cover them during these cooler months. I'm going to stop and add these to my notes. Wore deerskin mantles, okay, which were like jackets, moccasins made of deerskin, skirts for the women. I could also talk about the feathers and all these other things that they're wearing in their clothes. Okay, next I want to use the back arrow. By hitting the back arrow at the top of your screen, that'll bring you back to the link instead of the other link that you chose to get the pictures that you were clicking on. Now let's try to figure out where they lived. Again, I'm going to hit Control F. If you're on a Mac, you might have to hit Command F instead. Location. I don't see that word. So I really want to know where they lived. Perfect. Where do the Lenape Indians live? The Lenapes were originally people of the Mid-Atlantic area. Here are some maps showing the geography of the Lenapes and their neighbors in New Jersey, Delaware, New York, and Pennsylvania. I learned that yesterday actually in my book, that they lived in New Jersey, Delaware, New York, and Pennsylvania. Most Lenape Indians were driven out of their homeland by the British. Here's a partial map of the forced travels of the Lenape Indians. The Americans eventually relocated them to Oklahoma, where the modern Delaware Indian tribes are located today. Other Lenape people joined the Nanticoke or Munsai Delawares. There are also some small Lenape communities remaining in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. The total Lenape population is around 16,000. That's really not a big number. Okay, so in my notes, I already have where they lived. So I'm going to add that they were forced to Oklahoma, and some still seem to live in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Perfect. If you look up here, it says 6 matches, so I'm just going to hit enter a few more times. How do the Lenape children live? No, I'm not really sure that that has to do with location. What were their homes like in the past? So, again, they had wigwams, which I learned about yesterday. Some Lenape Indians preferred Iroquoian style longhouses to wigwams because more family members could live in a longhouse. Here are some pictures of wigwams, longhouses, and other Native American homes. Okay. So here's a wigwam, more of like a dome shape. Has like bark or hay or something on there. Longhouses. Oh my. I'm going to pause this video and give myself some time to read this. Okay, so it seems like a wigwam maybe fit like 4 or 5 people in it, whereas a longhouse can fit like 10 to 15 people in it. I like the inside view that shows you like they had a fire to help keep them warm. They had like beds and things, and things like that. But Lenni Lenape did not live in teepees. Then I would go back to my article again by using the back button. And now I can look for tools. What were Lenni Lenape tools and weapons like? Lenape hunters used bows and arrows. Lenape warriors wielded heavy wooden war clubs and also carried body-length shields of moose hide and wood. Noticing that they do a lot of stuff with like the animals like fur and skin. Here's a website with pictures and information about weapons of Native Americans. Okay, so in my notes, I'm going to add bows and arrows, wooden war clubs, shields. Perfect. Now I'm ready to do my Padlet for today. When you go on Padlet, you'll notice that your teacher and I have already added the climate, locations, tools and resources subheadings for you. We also gave you some more information about what specifically you should describe in each of those sections. For climate, describe the weather, seasons, temperatures, and other information about the climate where your tribe lives. So I added what I learned yesterday. Just like us, we live in New Jersey and have 4 seasons. They needed to hunt more when it was warm to stock up for winter. Locations. Describe where your tribe lives. What is the habitat or land like? What part of the United States is that area called today? So Miss added, the Lenape lived in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, and Delaware. Many have moved since to remain in southern New Jersey. So I'm actually going to add on, oops, I kind of did that twice. Delete one. Mrs. Traversone. Okay, and then I'm going to say, I agree with you, Miss R. So I'm responding to her. I also learned that they were forced by the British, and many Lenape also now live in Oklahoma. Okay? See how I'm acknowledging what Miss said, and I'm adding my own thing about the location of the Lenape today? Let's look at tools and resources. Describe the tools your tribe made and used to hunt, cook, gather, and play. And live. Oh, play. So I probably could go read that section on the children. I'll have to do that after my note. Miss on page 17, it looks like they had bows and arrows in the photo to hunt. They have earrings, an odd-shaped container, probably to carry water, and what looks like a lot of beads. Oh, so she's talking about the page from the book we were assigned yesterday. Okay. So again, I'm just going to kind of add on here. Made shelters called wigwams from wood, grass, tree bark, and sometimes animal skins. Easy to move if they need to migrate. I'm going to add on to that. They also lived in long houses, which they learned about from the Iroquois tribe. So those of you who are studying the Iroquois, you guys helped to teach me something. I could also add on here about how they had wooden bar clubs and shields. I think I'm going to add that to Miss Er's comment because she already talked about how they had bows and arrows. So I'm going to add that on there. Yes, they did have bows and arrows. They also used wooden war clubs and shields. And then since it doesn't have a spot for my name here, I'm just going to put a dash and then Mrs. Traverstone. So I know I'm the one who commented there and we can keep track of who's actually commenting. Okay? So that's how you're going to comment from Padlet today using your notes from the book you read yesterday and the links you're reading today. Happy researching!